This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals. Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Bryan Driscoll. I'm here with Chad Keller, and today we want to talk about how to build high-converting landing pages for real estate investors and how to test and what kinds of things to test on your landers. So Chad, you have a lot of experience with this. What do you got?
Yeah, so when you're running paid traffic especially, the different messaging, the different videos, the different styles that you can use from a landing page standpoint, there's so many different variations. And it's important to test those because one might work better than the other. You should always be testing. No matter what, when you have something that's working, like you should always test because there could be something out there, a simple tweak that you can make that could beat that. We traditionally use carrot websites because they work really well. From a credibility standpoint, they're a fully built out website. And they convert. We like how they have a two-step form where it initially asks phone, email, address, and then they hit submit, you acquire that information, and then they go to the next page and fill out a longer form, which if they don't fill out that longer form, we then can at least retarget or call them and contact them based on the information we already have. But that's just one of many things that you can do. When you have for instance, when you're doing a single page landing page, there's different softwares like Instapage, Unbounce. There's a ton of them out there. We like Instapage. It's just our designers build well in it. But you can do things, just little tweaks, like taking a menu bar away, have no other click options except for that button in the hero section of a website. That way they only have one when a seller comes there, they only have one option. It's to click that button or to fill out a form. And we always talk about above the fold is very important. What above the fold means is that when you load a website on your cell phone, for instance, that first initial section of the website that you see on your cell phone, that's above the fold. As soon as you scroll, you go below the fold. So that area up there is super important. And that's one of the main areas that you want to split test, whether it's a button, a form, a video, a different headline, different messaging. It all can make a difference. And it might even be a 1 to 3% difference, or sometimes it might be a 10, 15% difference. But there's so many different things that you can do. Bryan, I know you always have. Bryan loves testing. We're always testing everything, whether it's ad creatives, it's images, it's videos. He's for our national site where we test ad creatives for our clients to see what ones do better versus others. I think Bryan's got 5 to 8 different ones a week you're at or something.
Yeah, we test a lot of different
landers in there now too.
Yeah, and before we even get to that too, let's talk about mobile. So Chad's really good on the design side and brand side and everything. And I'm always designing websites because I'm a little bit older. I'm like 42. Chad's in his 30s. I'm designing things and I'm always looking at desktop. And then I'll bring it back. I'm like, dude, this is great. This is great. And he shits all over. He's like, dude, the mobile sucks. So one thing you want to make sure too, when you're looking at your website, look at the mobile version and the desktop version, because most of your people are going to be on mobile these days, but one version could be good and the other one could be all out of whack. So make sure you're looking at both of those and testing both versions of them also, especially because there's different people coming to the website, As for testing, yeah, like there's so many different things that you can test. Like sometimes ugly things work and sometimes pretty things work, and sometimes vice versa. It's like you're never going to know what works and what doesn't unless you test it. Like we sent out a mail where it's like 5,000 pieces. Well, first we used to send out yellow letters. So most people know what they are. Yellow letter looks like it's handwritten, red ink, blue ink, mail it out. We got a decent response on it. We had a great idea. We're like, you know what? If we made ourselves look really professional, we're going to do some mailers and have them designed like we would do like on our website or something like that. They look really pretty. I'll actually stick a image one in the show notes so you guys can see it, but they look real pretty. We sent 5,000 mailers out and got 0 phone calls.
Yeah, we made them match the high school colors in that zip code.
Yeah, match the high school colors. Looked really nice. It was all cool. And got 0 people calling, like literally nothing. It was wasted like a couple grand. And one thing you want to do too is when you test something and it fails, don't do it again. Like learn, okay, that didn't work. Let's test something different. Not like, oh, you know what, that worked. Let's tweak it a little bit. Like if something flops, start back over. If something worked pretty decent, you can start tweaking that design to try to increase conversion rates. But if something straight up flops, like just can it and start and go back to something else.
Something else that's important too is you don't want to test too many variables at once. For instance, like when you're testing a landing page, you can test different things, like I said, from a headline on that landing page to the call to action text on the button to the video or image at the top, but only make one subtle change at a time. For instance, if that headline on that page is sell your house fast for cash. Okay, that's one test. Now run that for a week, 2 weeks, see what the conversion rate is. Take that same exact design, everything you have, just change that headline to sell your house as is, no repairs needed. Test that for 7 to 14 days. Okay, compare those two. Now, maybe you find a winner out of those. Plug that winner in there, and okay, this winner converted at a 10% conversion rate. All right, now let's go down the page. Instead of having an image here, let's put a video here. Now let's test that winning headline with this new video and see if we see an increase in conversion rate. And then again, okay, that was headline 1, that's the winner. And we did video 1. Okay, this is the conversion rate of that combination. Now let's go headline 1, video 2, and so on. And you can do that with every element of the hero section above the fold. But again, you don't want to change the headline, the video, and the button at the same time. You don't know what led to that increase in conversion. So that's very important. Like sometimes you just get ahead of yourself where it's like, oh, I want to change this. I want to test this. I want to do that. Great. But you need to know what works. So just be super, just know that when you're doing that, you want to do one element at a time.
Yeah, and that's so important too, because human nature wants you to keep changing things and trying to make it better. You have to be patient. Like I'm guilty of that, especially on the SEO side. If you're testing different things like content too, you got to be very patient. So make that change, and maybe even just put in a calendar or something in 2 weeks to remind yourself, hey, here's the day we're going to check it to get it off your brain. But don't be micro tweaking things, because if you go from if you go from a mediocre conversion to a great conversion, good. Because a couple of the changes you might have made worked. You don't know which one. That's not that big a problem. If you go from mediocre conversions to crappy conversions and you made multiple changes, sometimes you don't know how to reverse it, especially if you made a change today and then you change something else in a couple of days and then change something else. It's really hard to reverse engineer to get back to where you at least were, that starting point. So like Chad's saying, just do one thing at a time. And the tools like Chad was saying earlier, like Instapage, Unbounce, you can use ClickFunnels. A lot of them will have A/B test things built into them too. So you can set up 2 different landers and it'll test side by side. It will give 50% of traffic to one, 50% traffic to the other. Let it run for a couple of weeks, and it will give you the data on that stuff too. So I think that's about all we got on that. You got anything else, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, that's it on our side. Just always be testing, but only test one variable at a time is the most important thing. We'll put in the show notes, Instapage, Unbounce, some other websites you can use for landing pages. But yeah, that's all we got today.
All right, guys. Yeah, go out there and crush it and close some deals.